Hey guys, and welcome to Paramedic Storytime. So what's going to be about this channel is essentially I'm going to be talking about, different crews, situations, calls, just different things I've ran into in my career, and felt like it would make a decent story, so I figured why not put it on here and see maybe you guys would enjoy it as well. So a little background on me. I have been in the EMS field for about 5 years now. I essentially started as an EMT for a private ambulance service. I went to school to become a paramedic, and while I was working as a paramedic, I went and got extra schooling to become what is called critical care certified. And essentially what that allows me to do is take sicker patients that might be on more medications or equipment for transport. Something that, a standard ALS paramedic might not do. So for this call, it's going to be at where I currently work at. And what I currently do is I work for a hospital-based transport team. And we run with an EMT as a driver, a critical care paramedic like myself, and a registered nurse. So now this call happened not too long ago, and it's one of those calls that you see the initial come in and you're worried about the worst thing that could happen, essentially. So, well, what kind of call would this be? Well, we get a call for labor pains. So it came in first thing in the morning. That's what we had. We're going from hospital A to hospital B, and the chief complaint is labor pains. Now you might be wondering as to why a hospital A might be calling us to take a patient to hospital B. Well, this patient is pregnant and possibly in labor right now, and the original facility does not have an OB unit, and they also don't have another unit which is needed. Now this pregnancy is only 32 weeks along, guys, so we know that. And for that reason, the patient is going to need what's called a NICU team, and it's a neonatal intensive care unit. Being his baby is only 32 weeks along, if the pregnancy does happen, if the birth does happen today, well, the baby's not going to be able to sustain life more than likely on their own, and they're going to need help. So that's what that team is for. So that's the reason why we would be going over there. So at any rate, we head down to the hospital, and we're going in the ER, guys, and we're looking for the room where this patient is. Well, guys, it's really not hard at all to find where this patient is, because there's a ton of facility staff surrounding one room in the ER, and they're kind of frantic. So this can mean a couple things, and none of them are really good. It could either be A, things have escalated in the room since we originally got called, or B, maybe they're not equipped and ready to deal with what's coming next, or they're unsure. So at any rate, these are concerns, and it's something that we know on our first impression. So we're moving up to the room, and I'm looking for this one person, guys. And this person is somebody that has spent time or understands the specialty of OB and can see the situation and essentially tell us, you guys have plenty of time for this transport, don't worry about it, or we might be having a baby here right now. So we don't have that person here, guys. There's nobody here that typically does it, so we have to go off of something else, and that's going to be what we know currently about the labor process, and B, our patient's presentation. So essentially we go up to the physician that's there working on the case, and we ask them, hey, so how many centimeters dilated is she? Has her water broke? And then all the other, important things, if she's been taking her prenatals, if she has a due date, if she has this, that, and the other, how many babies has she had, how many abortions, how many pregnancies, all these things, you know, they're very important to know to give us kind of an idea as to where we're at in this process. So the physician comes back. She does have a normal doctor. She does have a due date. She has been taking her prenatals. Her water did break, and she's currently 7 centimeters dilated. 10 is usually go time, guys. And said, okay, great. So how many babies has she had? And the physician says that she has been pregnant twice and she has had 2 live births. So guys, that is really good news to know, and it's a little bit scary news to know as well. Because once you've had 2, it's a lot easier to get the next one out. That and being 7 centimeters dilated, we're pretty far along. Okay. Well, let's go check out our patient. Let's see how they're doing. So we have a younger Hispanic lady, very nice, Spanish speaking only. She seems comfortable, guys. You know, I mean, I understand she's in labor right now, but she is not, you know, squirming all over the bed and going crazy. She's resting comfortably. So we get the interpreter on the line because neither of us speak Spanish. Out of all 3 of us, nobody does. Wonderful. But we say, hey, you know, we are the transport team that was called. We're here to kind of assess everything and see if we're going to be good for transport. But we want to know, like, you know, how you're doing. You know, how are you feeling? Are you having pains? Do you feel like you need to push? These kinds of questions. She comes back and says, you know, my contractions are like scattered somewhere around like 3 minutes apart. They do hurt quite a bit. And I don't feel like I need to push right now, and I haven't felt like it at all. All right. So understandable with the contractions, guys. Not feeling like she needs to push is also a good thing, because pushing equals baby. So these are just certain things that we kind of key elements as to how we're going to feel about transporting. Because at the end of the day, like I said, with a call like this, people don't typically want to run them because, one, we don't run them that often. So it's not like, you know, your chest pains or your sepsis alerts or your traumas or anything like that. Something that we run a lot more, you know. So not only is it something that we don't do quite often, but delivering babies is not the most sterile, clean, wonderful, you know, situations. And now you're going to bring that into an ambulance that's very small. So these are obviously all things that we, myself and my partner, are taking into consideration, and we're kind of having that conversation right now of, do we feel like we should be doing this transport, or should we just wait it out? So with everything, you know, with all the information and whatnot and patient presentation, we're also taking into account that we only have about a 10 to 15 minute transport running emergency. So with all that being said, you know, we have decided that we feel comfortable taking this transport. You know, this is not the first time we've been in this exact same situation. But mom and baby really need to be over at that other hospital. So we come back to her, we say, hey, you know, we just want to let you know that we feel comfortable with the transport, we feel comfortable taking you. We're just going to have one singular goal for this transport, and that is to not have a child en route. We want to try to stay calm and relaxed and just make it through this ride together. However, if you know, if your baby decides that it really wants to come out before we get over to that other hospital, that we're going to be there for them and yourself. We want our patient to feel comfortable and with less anxiety if we can, with the least amount of anxiety as we can. So, and I do feel like she got a little bit more relaxed, you know, hearing all this. And she said, yep, I'm okay with it. Let's go ahead and get going. Great. So we go ahead and get her moved over, guys. We get her onto our monitor, get her secured, bring her out to the ambulance, loaded up, ready to go. All right. So we're en route now, guys. We get like, I don't know, a minute down the road. And guys, she is speaking in Spanish, and she is moaning some moans that we have not heard before. Let's get the interpreter back on the line. Hey guys, can you tell us what's going on right now? Guys, she says that it's hurting a lot, and she feels like she needs to push. All right, guys, remember, push equals baby time. We're also really close. So my job has now turned into the coach. Right now, I am talking to her and trying to relax her and calm her and breathe with her and ask her not to push at this time. Just trying to, you know, bring the whole situation right back down. My partner, on the other hand, is getting everything else in the ambulance ready to go. I mean, we have a resuscitation area for baby already. We're getting all the OB kit stuff out. We have suction ready. We have airway ready. We have all these things ready to go, you know, in case it is game time. So with all this being said, maybe, you know, a couple of seconds later, she starts to relax again. Dodge the bullet, guys. Fantastic. Maybe like 30 seconds later, though. 30 seconds. Right back to the moans. Oh man. Guys, this is certainly going to happen. We're in like a minute and a half into transport. No. No. So my partner looks at me and he says, I don't feel comfortable with this transport anymore. I think we should go back to the hospital. Guys, my partner and I almost always agree. And yes, that is exactly what we are going to do. Because in the back of an ambulance, like I said, it is too small, and we don't have enough providers if this thing goes south. Because let me tell you guys, we might have 2 people in the back. And as far as critical care transport is concerned, that's typically great, because we'll have one person on medications and another person on airway. It's fantastic. Well, we might be talking about having 2 patients in the back of this ambulance, guys. I mean, we might have a baby that can't breathe, or the heart might stop working, or mom might start bleeding uncontrollably. I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen in a situation like this. So you have to kind of think ahead of time. You know, are we going to be in the best position possible for the best outcome for this situation? Or do we need to do something else to make so that that happens? So we go ahead and turn right around, guys. I mean, we're what, maybe 2 minutes in right now? 2 minutes into a 10-15 minute transport? Probably closer to 15, because it's like 5 o'clock at this hour. You know, people don't like to move for ambulances. That's a soapbox for a whole different situation. So we get turned around, and guys, I'm not even kidding. As soon as we did that, I mean, she let out this huge moan, and then a baby appeared. Guess what, guys? 2 patients. Here we are. So while I am inside freaking out, because this is the first time I've been in this situation, I've never had a baby come out of somebody in the middle of an ambulance transport. That's on the inside though, guys. On the outside, it's game time. We're here to work. We're here to get this done. We're here to take care of baby and mom. So we immediately secure baby. We get them dried, warmed. We suction them out. We're helping them breathe. We're checking on mom. Mom is actually doing great. So that's a great thing, guys. That is one less thing that we have to worry about. But at this point, guys, we are rolling into minute 3, and we are rolling back into that hospital. And they see us and like, hey, they're back. Oh my goodness, they had the baby. Yes, please help. We need help. So we go ahead and get them in the room, and we get baby into the resuscitation area, and we get mom moved back over to an ER bed. We get everybody stabilized and everything. Honestly, that was the best outcome, guys. So I didn't really want to take away from the story at the moment, but this was the baby's APGAR score initially. This is something that we check a minute in and 5 minutes after. It's actually really important. So I mean, for those that aren't medical, here you go. There's a little bit of information for you for your own thoughts. And mom did not have any excessive bleeding. I mean, baby wasn't really able to breathe on their own, so that we had to get that taken care of. But in the end result, we still transported mom over to the next hospital, and then they called a NICU transport team because that's a state law mandated thing. They came and took baby. I have learned that mom is doing very well, and I've also learned that baby is no longer on a ventilator, and they're actually breathing for themselves now. So that's all really good news to hear. You know, guys, people say that the birth of a baby is this just beautiful, wonderful situation that, you know, people just love to be a part of. It's just such a beautiful, wonderful thing. I'm not going to agree this time, guys. I mean, sure, this baby was only 32 weeks. It happened in the back of an ambulance. And, you know, guys, I've been on some really, you know, horrible, traumatic, just nasty calls in the past. For the amount of fluid that was left on my stretcher, I mean, guys, these things are concaved, you know? So I'm talking about a pool of just fluid remained on my stretcher. Guys, I don't know. I earned my Stork pin. I'm not looking for another. We'll put it that way. But at any rate, it's like anything else in the medical field. I am, at the end of the day, still glad that I got to be a part of it. You know, it was a learning experience for me. And I feel like, you know, for it being our first time together running this call, it went actually very well. So that was the story of how I earned my Stork pin. I hope you guys enjoyed the story. You know, I do plan to do more of these. I also will... I also go over, you know, my work week as well as some recent news in the EMS world on my Twitch stream. So I do that, you know, every other Sunday. So if you're interested in that, you can follow me on there, and you'll find out when I go live for that. But if you simply just enjoyed the story, you know, I would love a like for the video. And, you know, if you're interested in hearing more stories from me, a subscription would be great. You know, if you could subscribe. That'd be fantastic. So at any rate, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, if you want to know anything more about the call, please comment on it. I'd love to hear from you. Until then, thank you guys for coming out, and thank you for being a part of Paramedic Storytime.